But I wonder that if he just nabbed it and got the first out, if it wouldn't be like, well, why would he not try to turn a double on that? As a coach, what would you say?
I would say as a coach, I would say play the way that you've been playing 162 games.
So if you're going to go for the double?
If that's how he plays this 162 games, then he should be doing what comes naturally to him.
I thought the same thing. All right, so we're back.
Marcy Ellen says, hey, Jay, she said she was here.
Oh, Marcy,
yeah,
if you're listening, this is your coat, and everyone's been asking where it's from. Actually, these are your jeans. These are Lucky brand boots. So these are your jeans and your coat. Tell people where they could get the coat. Okay.
We're
waiting for you to type in. Okay, so we covered baseball. What else is going on in the world?
There's rumors of an election taking place next week.
I know nothing about that.
It's happening
Somebody
in
tweeted
a third world country.
I know. Somebody tweeted a still of their milk, and they said, my milk expires the same day our country does. And it said November 8th.
Why is I really don't understand why everybody's so negative.
Because it's been literally Barnum and Bailey for the last year. This is a circus. This isn't...
Okay, first of all,
I love it.
How
and it's
great is the country doing right now? So we've had 8 years with this great president that everybody loves, right? A lot of people love.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
I'm not at all being sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
I would he's by all measurements, he has a very high, he's got a really highly favorable rating.
Okay.
Right? Nothing's.
He's made some. Yeah, I agree with you. He's made some questionable decisions. I think we've had some issues with foreign policy. I think that we've had some race relation
rarely
issues.
Perfect, right?
Correct.
But to get through.
We're all alive.
We're all alive. The economy is like everybody's 8 years ago. Everybody was worried that the economy was going to end.
Yeah.
8 years ago, the stock market's stronger, right?
I guess. You're telling me.
Yeah, no, it's higher. The world hasn't gone off the rails.
Listen, you have to. Everyone's just playing around, but yeah, the truth is we're you know.
I mean, people got to be confident in America. I think the United States has been here
We're not right now. We're not right now because of all.
Why do you think that? Why aren't people confident in America?
Not that they're not confident in America. They're not confident in the two people that are going to run America.
They're two of the people that are going. They're not going to run America. They're going to lead America. There are all of these checks and balances. We still have a Senate. There's still a Congress. There's still a judiciary.
I know. Okay. Well, for example, the Supreme Court. Right. There's no checks and balances with that. They're going to nominate.
Right. So if let's assume that. I mean, what you were saying, you articulated the other day. You were worried about Donald Trump's
very right-wing possible picks for the Supreme Court could jeopardize
so that if he
gay rights in this country.
Right.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the country goes to hell. I mean,
I don't think the country's going to hell. I think it's just a funny way that people are talking. The whole, I'm moving to Canada on November 9th kind of thing, no matter what. And it used to be I'm moving to Canada if Trump wins, and then some people...
Right. Now, you know what I actually think about Trump's thing is... I think he did one of the... Remember Muhammad Ali had the rope-a-dope?
Yeah, what was Trump's rope-a-dope?
I think Trump got, so much negative stuff from everybody that everybody's tired. When he fought Foreman, George Foreman got tired of just punching Muhammad Ali. And I a little bit feel that, the people who are anti-Trump have
got tired of him.
They've been punching him and punching him and punching him. It doesn't
hurt that there has been a lot of negative... chatter around Hillary Clinton. It doesn't hurt. Now, if Hillary Clinton was somebody else and didn't have a foundation whereby its ties were all sorts of intermingled with her work as Secretary of State, if the Democrats had nominated a candidate who was, the governor of some state, and all of a sudden...
She's under FBI investigation.
I mean, come on. Her husband was impeached. She's under FBI investigation. There's a lot on both sides. This is why we're all caught up in the web that we're in right now, because, he's a little shady, she's a little shady, his work's a little shady, her work's a little shady, they both have foundations, everyone's got a foundation these days. So that's, I think, why people are a little bit pessimistic about the months to come.
Right. I used to be
But that being said, Lance.
Okay.
I am more excited for election night than as excited for election night than I think I was for the Super Bowl last year. You know, like, it's a big event. I'm gearing up, buying the nachos, getting
Jade
the salsa.
Cass is actually saying she really wishes the third party was a more viable option. She was hoping for that in the next election. I will actually say,
you know, when was it a viable option? When
Ralph Nader.
Yeah, but not completely viable.
If
it was like a Michael Bloomberg.
But I was actually going to say that Ralph Nader happened to have been like the main when I did my malaria work. He was the most helpful. He was one of the most helpful people around.
I saw an article.
Yeah,
but
and
listen,
he was just like, so you just get like.
But listen, if Ralph Nader was running today,
if Ralph Nader was running today, he might get elected.
Right. And not even because he's Ralph Nader, because it's
but because he is Ralph Nader. Like, Ralph Nader had a history. He was like, I don't think.
No. You get elected because of who you are. He would get elected because of who he isn't. This cycle, I'm not saying he's phenomenal in his own right, but you put a third party candidate up against two viable big party candidates, they're not going to win. You put him up against this year. Unfortunately, we have Gary Johnson, who didn't know what Aleppo was. Gary Johnson, right? He didn't know what Aleppo was. Like, what do I know? Nothing, and I knew what Aleppo was. What's Aleppo? What's Aleppo? What's Aleppo? Anyway, I think that's the state that we're in right now. So it's
it's become a big business.
Oh yeah. So that being said, people are making plans for election night, like it's Super Bowl parties, election parties, drinking games.
Right. I'm sorry. AbdiG82 says of 300 million Americans, it comes down to Trump and Clinton.
Yep.
Hillary Clinton.
Yep, you're right.
There was an interesting article yesterday in the New York Times talking about how Hillary was like, she had all of these men in her life who had like insatiable appetites, and like they were talking about Clinton, Bill Clinton, talking about Donald Trump, Anthony Weiner, that all of these men around her had.
Oh, did you see? And let me know when Marcy writes back. Did you see that Anthony Weiner checked himself into
a sex
rehab, cyber sex rehab? Did you know there was such a thing? Cyber sex rehab.
I feel like there's a lot of rehabs. Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna have to go to Lance rehab if I don't.
Well,
cyber sex rehab. But what is that for? Obviously, he's not checking himself in because he thinks he needs help. He's checking himself in for optics. But who does that help?
I guess it helps Hillary a little bit. Like, that was the.
They've distanced themselves from him. They've distanced themselves from Uma.
They didn't distance themselves from him enough.
In the beginning.
I mean, like, that was the thing that Trump had tweeted out. Like,
I know.
There was some sort of a.
I know. Yeah. Anyway. But that's really all that's going on in the world right now. I mean, right?
Right. So to sort of pick up on where we were doing yesterday was to do this live.
Yeah.
What is going on in terms of trending? First of all,
let me just say this: when I read through those trending notes, 8 out of the 10 I don't never even heard of, much less understand why.
Right, and a lot of them.
It's because I'm not cool enough to know what's trending.
But it's up for us to sort of like. I think there's a segment here, and I want to kind of drill down on it and figure it out live.
Gotcha.
A lot of what we do here is we haven't perfected everything yet, even though it seems like we're perfect.
Yeah.
And
my big thing is whether people if people can hear us. I was told yesterday by at least 4 people. Well, you can hear me because I'm yelling. Not yelling, but I'm speaking rather loudly. I understand. But when we have guests on, we
should. We had a couple of. We're working on it. We will get there. So one of the things is National Sandwich Day is today, but we can't participate in National Sandwich Day.
We can't.
But if you want to, you can slice a potato.
Okay.
We discussed the Cubs.
Cubs won.
They're still trending.
In case you're just, by whatever reason, waking up right now, Cubbies won last night. They are the World Series champions. They'll have all of 8 minutes to now rest, and then they get ready for spring training.
Hamilton.
Yes, I'm the last human to see Hamilton. I've not seen Hamilton.
There's a Hamilton mixtape, which is coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, but I think one needs to actually listen to the soundtrack before being able to appreciate the mixtape. And I never quite got into the soundtrack. I never got into the soundtrack. I never got into the... I don't even really, to be honest, know the story of the show. I don't even know the historical reasoning for having
between
done the show?
Hamilton and Aaron Burr.
They.
So this is actually these
Yeah,
are the
but
two leaders of our country. They had a duel, and one of them.
I didn't even know that.
Okay, so yeah.
So you mean to tell me he could have picked any American historical work and turned it? Whatever he does is going to be successful anyway. He's like he's the Midas touch when it comes to Broadway success at this point. He could have picked anything. Like it could have been, I don't know. Give me another, like George Washington and the Cherry Tree. Was that a real story?
That would have been
I told
like,
you I skipped American history. I did tell you that when I was in Haiti.
So what else happened in America? We could have had like the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln getting shot. We had Aaron Burr and Hamilton.
But we've done Abraham Lincoln getting shot.
Yes,
No one's
so
done the Hamilton
Andrew
version.
Jackson, like
Don't know it.
Okay, there could have been, let's see, Teddy Roosevelt had a lot of stuff. Do you know where the term teddy bear comes from, by the way?
No.
Teddy Roosevelt, he was, all into hunting and everything.
Yeah.
So he went and he was supposed to shoot a bear, and they couldn't shoot a bear, and they ended up finding a bear, and they shot it for him, and then he shot it, that type of thing, and they had like this whole thing with teddy bear. Anyway,
all right.
So it could have been this origins of the word teddy bear. Google home.
We should move along because I see some raindrops.
All right.
Do you agree?
Let's get it going.
Just in case.
Yep.
We're gonna brave the elements because that's what we do here. Here being up here on the roof without an umbrella or a tarp of any sort. What?
There's something about Podesta emails, that there's another email thing going on.
Oh, I have no doubt that there'll be at least 2 more batches before the election. And then afterwards as well. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and we are going to come back and talk all things social media.